Hey, this is really good with Mutavault and Pioneer.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. All right, what's your stupid number two since it's not Gandalf? Okay, so I was just telling you, Jacob, this set looks really fun. It puts into perspective since after we just had a Marvel set, how much I like this sort of fantasy world and magic adjacent things more, even though I don't hate the other UB sets.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page. Just like it just feels like it fits into Magic very well. I like the card names in this set. Just some that are very
Nasty little rabbit.
straightforward. Yeah, exactly. Or old fat spider.
Yeah.
Um, or old fat spider can't see me. Those are some good ones.
You have some good card names to name with like pithy needles and stuff when you have to name a card
Yeah,
name, especially on Arena. So that'll be pretty good. Okay, well, welcome everyone. We're going to be doing our top 10 set for The Hobbit. Pretty excited about it. Been looking through the set. I'm a little disappointed this set's a small set, honestly. I like it so much.
it's always disappointing. I mean, I've just like never really drafted the small sets. I have maybe, like I drafted Spider-Man a couple times. I had it at the Pro Tour, and we had four of us draft it. But I end up playing sealed a lot because I always do arena directs or things like that. Um, and it's kind of weird. Um, I don't hate it, but I find you get very similar sealed decks in small set sealed.
Yeah, it's definitely
Um,
worse in my mind.
like it's like if you played Marvel and you were just like, instead of recognizing that the best sealed deck in Marvel is probably some white blue deck if you're lucky or splashing red for Superhero Civil War, but it's like if you were playing an arena qualifier weekend in Marvel Limited and it was a small set, I imagine you would just have to overcome that deck I described more than half your matches,
Yeah,
which is how I
probably.
imagine Hobbit will be the same way. Because the last one I played, TMNT, was that way too, where in fact I had, very strong white decks. What was her name? Sally Pride, the best rare in the deck. I had that in day two, and I just remember losing to like three decks that also had Sally Pride.
Yeah.
Or two decks, I guess is all it takes. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I personally like I hated Spider-Man and then I didn't I don't know that I hated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because I didn't give it much of a chance. I just didn't play it much. I think I didn't feel like it fit well with Magic, and then I didn't really like that was a small set either. So
Yeah.
yeah, well, it's a little weird that something like Star Trek gets a whole full set, and this
Yeah,
one's
and
smaller.
I don't want to like hate on Star Trek just because it's Star Trek, but it's also just so irritating, in my opinion, that things are so packed together because we're just getting Star Trek spoilers this week already. And
Doesn't even let the Hobbit breathe.
yeah,
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get our content out there, and people can enjoy it while it lasts, I suppose.
yeah,
So in terms of making this, did you have a hard time? At some point, you messaged me that you might be having a hard time getting 10 cards.
I hadn't really tried. I
Okay.
mean, my list is not similar to some of our other top tens. I don't expect all of these to be things that are definitely going to make changes in formats, but they're the ones I think are more likely, and some of them are just really cool, so they're kind of things that you know, I could believe they never see play, but they seem like they do something powerful enough that I want to talk about it because maybe
Yeah.
they'll see play.
And as always, you got to compare the cards to the other cards in the set mostly, not to
Yeah.
like every card in standard or whatever. So, all right. Do you have any honorable mentions for us, Jacob, before we get started?
Yeah, I have a two honorable mentions that kind of are cards that play well together. They are Goblin Town Flunkies and Bolg's Company. Bolg's Company is a black and a red for a 2/2 Goblin Soldier. It's not legendary. It says this creature has haste as long as you control another goblin, and you can tap it and sack another goblin to add black red. And the flunkies are one in the red for a 1/1 haste, and when this creature enters, amass goblins one. Um, so just kind of the goblin sack theme that I think Lauren Eclipse was kind of pushing. So I like to see a bit more cards getting added to that deck, maybe. Um, I don't think I think that deck was pretty far off from being good. It's weird. There's actually a lot of one mana goblins in standard, but besides the one that like the 2/1 that can't block from Lauren Eclipse that you can behold a goblin to play on turn one, that like when it dies you destroy something with power 2 or less. The rest are just kind of like mono red aggro goblins, not really sack themed goblins. Like Burnout Bastronaut or stuff like that. Um,
There is the one where it has
with
mobilize
yeah,
one.
yeah, that one's closer to what you want. I mean, the perfect thing would just be like a 1/1 goblin that when it dies made a 1/1 goblin.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a lot of time. These sets are both in the same year, so you know, soon we're gonna have rotation in on the new year. Yeah, I was thinking about it today. How I feel like when new sets come out, standard's so big that the new sets just don't impact standard that often. But I think maybe what we'll notice is that rotation being so many sets rotating, it might actually have a way bigger impact than it used to have.
Yeah, there's a chance. And then, of course, if they ever decide to go back to 2 year standard or something, that could be a big change. I
Yep.
I saw this Bulks company card and I really like it. I didn't even really notice the other red one. I kind of glazed over it. I guess it's kind of like a dragon fodder that's a creature,
Yeah.
which has its benefits.
Yeah. It's just, and maybe, the haste matters when you're getting in little bits of damage like these sack decks usually do with the drain life stuff.
Yeah, there's a ton of good red black goblins in Lorwyn. I've shelled out some goblin decks, and none of these cards made my list because I still don't think it accumulates into anything that's going to be particularly good in standard.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't know. There's a lot of good like tier 3 decks, in standard that are kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, this
Um,
company card, like I said, if you could actually play a goblin on one that, you were happy to sack and play the company on two and play another 2 drop, then like that's pretty powerful, I think. But
yeah, that is pretty nice because it is haste. It can ramp you into that 5 mana goblin command.
yeah, the haste line on it's very funny because it just prevents it from attacking because you wouldn't be able to activate it unless you had another goblin anyways.
Sure, fair enough. Yeah. Okay, my honorable mention was where's my list? Plunder the Troll Shaws.
Nice.
So I'm gonna read this card and I'll tell you why I'm actually upset about it. Plunder the Troll Shaws, 1 and a blue instant. Draw a card. If this spell was cast from a graveyard, you draw 2 cards instead. And it says that because it has flashback for 3 and a blue. So I've always been a think twice lover. It's my first love when it comes to card drawing. It's when I first started playing. I love to think twice. I think they've finally done it where this is basically just better than Think Twice, and in kind of a big way.
Yeah.
Like I think this card's genuinely pretty good. We're just literally living in a standard where it has like probably the best blue card drawing of nearly all time,
Yeah.
with consult the star charts and stock up. So I think there's a chance you might still fit this somewhere. Like it gets quite a bit of value if you can discard it or mill it over. It doesn't sound so crazy to me to play it with tablet of discovery decks. You can make the flashback on it cheaper, and then also if you just run out of tablet on turn 3, bin this over, then you'll have it for later, that sort of thing. So
Yeah, I don't hate it. I can't imagine, without like you said, all the other card draw. I don't think a deck's going to play 4 of these, but I could see squeaking in 1 or 2
yeah, I
in
don't
your
think it's
control
ever going to
deck.
really replace the other blue card drawers as
Yeah,
mainstays, but some decks
but
might play one
it
or
just
two.
might
Yeah,
be strong enough to add more to your deck.
yeah. A couple times I played. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it was like surveil one draw card and had flashback for 4 from Final Fantasy,
Yep,
and
I've played that at a game day, in fact.
yeah, I played it as like a one of because if you have incidental ways to discard cards, I think at the time I had Meringue River Regent and
Right.
it could maybe come up. So you can maybe play it. Being able to cycle this on turn 2 to hit your land drops. You can imagine if you play a Consult the Star Charts on turn 3, you do that a lot. You're not too
Yep.
happy about it, but sometimes you have to just cycle through your deck to hit land drops. This is kind of similar, but then this actually leaves you with something later. So that's my honorable mention. Okay, I usually have you go first
Yeah.
when reading them, so maybe I'll go first this time for my number
Yeah.
10.
Great idea.
Okay. So my number 10 is Bejeweled Warg. One and a
Nothing green.
green.
Nice.
3/2 wolf, trample. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, choose one. Put a +1/+1 counter on target wolf you control, or create a treasure token. So I originally kind of glossed over this card since it just like, is a 2-drop that dies to shock. But then I was kind of thinking that I mean, first of all, that's not too crazy because it's 2 mana. But then I realized like the trample might be pretty relevant.
Yeah, you can get the treasure off.
Yeah, even if your opponent can just like trade or block with it, you can pretty much always get the treasure, which is nice. Or I don't know, the landfall deck doesn't have a super great 2-drop. I mean, I know they play Badgermole Cub, but Trample's really good in the landfall deck, so maybe they wouldn't mind some more Tramplers bumming around in the 2 mana slot.
Yeah, maybe. It's not like they're a deck that's, dodging shock either. So
Yeah, and then
I like that it's an untapped treasure token.
yeah,
You can just like play Ice Till or something post combat if this trades off even.
it wouldn't be crazy to me to grow it if you thought your opponent was going to play like a creature on the next turn you might want to outsize, or if you just wanted to get outside of Burt's lightning
Yeah, of
range.
course. Yeah, if you start, if your opponent can't answer it the first time and couldn't block it, then you have a lot of incentive to keep growing it.
And then the last thing I like about it, which is kind of a funny thing to say, is that it's not legendary.
Yeah.
So you could, if you thought if this turned out to be a good card that you wanted in your green deck, you could actually play 3 or 4 copies, and it wouldn't be a big deal, as opposed to something like Bristly Bill or
Yep.
one of the million other legendary 2-drops they make nowadays.
Makes
So
sense.
yeah, what do you got for your number 10?
I have Killy the Resourceful. It's a 1 and a white for a legendary creature Dwarf Scout. It's a 1/2, and it has this new mechanic called Storied. If you control three or more artifacts, legendaries, and/or sagas, you have an enduring story for the rest of the game. So kind of think of this like City's Blessing, where you have to have a thing with Storied in play, meet its condition, which its condition is kind of like Metalcraft, but for historic permanence. So that's what it's counting: legendaries, sagas, and artifacts. And then once you get that, you get an emblem basically that's called Enduring Story that'll just sit there the rest of the game and turn on your cards that care about that. So then it's also nice because it's legendary, so it counts itself. Um, as long as you have an Enduring Story, you may pay 0 rather than pay the equip cost of the first equip's ability you activate each turn. And whenever another dwarf or equipment you control enters, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So I really have like Pioneer and Modern in mind with this, with Colossus Hammer stuff. Um, it's very similar to Pure Steel Paladin. It's easier to cast. The Metalcraft is easier to get online because this counts itself. It counts your hammers or any other artifacts you have, and it even counts Urza's Saga. Um, the draw a card ability being only once each turn, I guess, is awkward. It does mean if you draw a second copy of this though, because it also says dwarf, you could just cycle it if you're just sitting on one of these. Not a super powerful thing, but I kind of just think it's doing a lot of the right things.
Yeah. Um, so anytime we have a card that comes up that's on both our lists, we'll just mention it right away so we don't end up talking about it twice. I
Yep.
put this as number 8,
Okay.
so I also liked it. I feel like the storied is going to be probably pretty easy to get.
Yeah, if you're building to it seems like if you care about story, then you put cards in your deck that care. This card's
Yeah,
nice because it cares about equipment, which are artifacts naturally. So
yeah, exactly. And it's legendary, and you might play other legendary creatures.
yeah.
There's some other equipment cards in this set that I liked
Yep.
that could go with the equipment build arounds that we already have in standard. And I was trying to decide which one to put on my list of these like 3 cards that I liked, and I ended up going with this one because of I figured it might see play in like Pioneer. Is mainly what I was thinking.
Yeah, the hammer deck I think is a little too awkward and modern nowadays, but if the more they push it in Pioneer, the more I'd want to look at it.
Yeah, but the other couple of cards I liked were like Dwarven Mauler is 1 red 2/1, where
Yep.
it just has equip abilities. You activate the target that creature or this creature, the Dwarven Mauler, costs 2 less to activate.
We have a Leyline Axe in standard still in Foundations. That'll be in standard forever, basically.
Fun. Yeah, Leyline
Um,
Axe. There's a couple good equipment in this set, and there's like the Buster Blade or Buster Sword, whatever it's called,
yep.
from Final Fantasy. That's pretty strong. And then the other card that like seemed kind of good, honestly, if you could pull this equipment thing off, was Thorin Mountain King. This is 3 red 3/4 trample, and when it enters, you attach any number of target equipment you control to target creature you control, and whenever one or more equipment become attached to that creature. In this way, that creature deals damage equal to its power to up to one target creature. So, kind of a hybrid where it's like, an FTK,
That
Flametongue
equips
Kabu,
something.
that equips
Yeah,
something. So,
yeah,
all,
it's super cool.
all those cards seem pretty good. You can maybe do something with them in standard. So, yeah, that's my number 8. This is your number 10. I guess we'll go into my number 9, which is a reprint, actually.
Oh,
Have you already guessed?
yeah. Is it Settle the Wreckage?
It is, yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
not just picking it because the art is really good, although maybe that's part of the reason, honestly. So, 2 white, instant, exile all attacking creatures target player controls. That player may search their library for any number of basic land cards, or for that many basic land cards, put those cards onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. So, this is an example of a card in Magic, because I think this comes up kind of a lot where it's kind of an overrated card, but I still think it's pretty decent.
Interesting. Yeah. It has a cool squeeze with like consult, where your opponent, has to kind of play around both. I will say the first time this was in standard, I don't think they were doing 4 mana sweepers, so we didn't have just Day of Judgment in standard at the same time.
Yeah, people would play it with like Fumigate, which is a 5 mana
Yeah.
sweeper, and they would also use it to protect Fairy Hero Dominaria, which was kind of a big
Oh, right.
deal.
Yeah.
So I expected to see less play than it
Yeah.
used to. It still has the benefit of being a one-sided sweeper, so
Yeah, that
certain
matters.
certain white decks might play it out of their sideboard. Um, I still think there are matchups where it's just going to be a good card. It exiles instead of destroys. There's a lot of things that it's good against haste creatures in a sense. Um, I think there's
This
a good
card
chance
was,
it has some purpose.
yeah, this card was standard legal when Arena was first kind of getting up and running, and it was kind of the same story everyone said where your opponent GG's you, and obviously they do settle the wreckage. Like nobody fell for it. Just
Yeah, the good all good game.
yeah,
You have a huge board, and you're like,
yeah.
hmm. Yeah, definitely. This is gonna get you if you're not paying attention. So, just the fact that it's in standard is another thing. Like if someone passes with four
Especially
white
on
up,
Arena, people will play a lot of this on Arena. I think because
probably.
they just love getting people.
Yeah, it might be overplayed for a while, but I do think it'll probably have a
Like
home.
I've played against Aetherize on Arena a surprising amount, I would say.
Oh
Like
wow. I don't know
which
if
is
I've
just
seen
way
that
worse
one,
than this.
but yeah,
Yeah.
this is better. It's the kind of card that I don't know. Is it so crazy to put as a one of in your control deck or a one or two of in your white aggro deck sideboard? I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I think so too.
So that's where I'm at with it. What do you got for number 9?
I have Rovanian Rampager, which is 2 and a black for a wolf, not legendary. I'm going to specify that because so many cards are legendary in these universes we
I
don't
know.
suppose. It's a 3/2, just like your wolf. It says, whenever this creature attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, put a number of +1/+1 counters on this creature equal to the sacrificed creature's power. It says, when this creature dies, amass goblins X, where X is this creature's power. So this is vulnerable to getting exiled, but it's like a 3 mana 3/2 that dies and makes a 3/3. Um, that's pretty interesting. I don't think it really has a home, but it's kind of in that realm of Sephiroth type stuff. That sounds kind of good. It attacks for a lot if you want it to.
Yeah, it's like a sack outlet in a way too. If you need one in a pinch,
Yeah,
a little bit of one, anyways.
they're supporting that in a few ways. This set, I kind of I put those goblins in the honorable mentions, but they definitely are still pushing this like black sack theme, kind of black white across many sets, and maybe rotation will kind of unlock this deck. You know,
Yeah, maybe you can have like a black base sack deck that has goblin synergies, but isn't all goblins. Like it just plays some of the best goblin synergies, and a card like this, creates a goblin
yeah,
at some point.
definitely it's competing with Sephiroth too for that part of it. I mean, it's also weird because this card's more of an aggro card than you know a sack card. I'd say just because you could play it into Burst Lightning without fear or stuff like that,
Yeah, I mean that's pretty nice.
and Torch the Tower's rotating at least.
Yeah, creates a 3/3. I like it. It reminds me of something another wolf I was going to mention when I mentioned my two drop wolf, which was the gold one. Did you see this one? The
This is the black green one that
Chief
makes a
Works
2/2
Company.
every upkeep.
Yeah,
Yep.
this one yeah, so one black green 5/3 trample. It can't attack unless you have two or more wolves. At the beginning
Other
of your
wolves.
upkeep, other wolves, sorry, pretty important. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 2/2 green wolf.
Yeah,
So
and it can still block.
yep, it creates a 2/2 every turn. And then if if you were to play, going back to my number 10, going to play a wolf on turn two, or if you have this wolf that you're talking about, just your wolf tribal deck. If you have one other wolf in play, then your upkeep, you create one, then this could attack. So
Yeah.
that's something maybe, but something I'm less sure about for sure. Um, so we did my number eight because I was Killy. What about your number
Okay.
eight?
My number 8 is Pinecone Strike, which is a card I misread at first, but then reread it and still put it on my list.
All right.
It's one in a red for an instant. It says choose one or both. Pinecone Strike deals 3 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead, or destroy target artifact token. So, not quite a braid, doing a few things different. It can exile a creature, which I think 3 damage can often be like a magic mark for that, like Enduring Curiosity. These cards aren't really seeing as much play, but when you care about it, especially with Torch the Tower rotating, I could see looking at this. But I guess I think that, you know, sometimes they make cards that like make a clue or something, and the whole reason the card is good is that it makes a clue. And I could just imagine this like cleaning up that type of card, really well.
Yeah. Funny. I think I also missed both when I read this. Is that the card part of this you missed?
Yeah, I thought it was just better than a braid because I
Oh,
thought
I
it said
see.
destroy target artifact or token, but I missed it said both. Then I saw it said artifact token, but then I saw
Yeah.
it said or both. So I was like, oh, okay, it's like trading off some things.
Yeah. Pretty good design. I like it. I could definitely see a
Yeah,
world where this is playable.
not that tireless tracker's in standard, but it's like if there's a card like tireless tracker, then you would be reaching for this.
Yeah, it's like a metagame sort of card.
Yeah,
Or if they're forever some, I mean, first, if whatever reason they made a card that like creates a copy of itself, and that thing is an artifact,
yep,
um, you could look to this. So yeah, I mean, totally reasonable card. It's going to be a kind of card that you're going to have to try to remember it exists.
yeah,
Maybe sometimes when I'm building a new deck, I just like look through all the available certain kinds of cards on an arena. This is the kind of card that I might go, oh, this works.
yeah, exactly.
Uh, all right, let's see. Where are we? My number seven already?
Yep, you're number 7.
Okay. I've got Cantankerous Keepers.
Nice.
So, not super sure about this one, but we'll read it. Five in green for a 4/3 elf soldier. It has affinity for elves, so it costs one less for each elf you control. When this creature enters, mill 4 cards, then put all elf cards from among them into your hand. So, seems really good in an elf deck. The kind of old elf deck where you just literally have tons of mana creatures and tons of cheap elves, so that you can get the affinity down to this pretty low, and then it's also like a way to keep the ball rolling with being a card that finds more elves.
Yep.
I don't really know if those sorts of elf decks are good anymore, but I was thinking like maybe in Pioneer you could still do something like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because the type of elf deck you're describing, they'd slowly printed more of it into modern. Like Modern Horizons 3 had Wirewood Symbiote and Kyrian Ranger.
Hey, this is
Um,
really good with Wirewood Symbiote.
yeah, and I just don't really believe in that type of deck in modern, but I'm sure if you're playing elves in modern, you're probably going to play this card.
Yeah. There's forget the name of it, but there's like a 3 mana 1/1 elf that ETBs you search for something with a creature with converted mana cost 6 or greater.
Oh yeah, Fierce Empath. Yeah.
I think I've seen people using that to get Craterhoof Behemoth.
Okay.
So this would give you like another thing that you could maybe play as a one or two of, um, if you do that. But it's the kind of thing where like it seems like a really good card in an elf deck that maybe doesn't exist anymore. I did look through the elves in standard. There's some pretty good elves, and there's some good elves in this set. Um, so maybe that was my thought.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a card I wrote down. I just didn't think of a. It seemed like it's not offering anything that the elf deck can't already do. I think it's probably an upgrade to the things the elf deck can do, but they kind of play cards that do things like this anyways.
Yeah, I guess what
But
they really need is they need some more good cheap elves.
yeah,
Um, this also has the problem where in a lot of the games elves lose. It's because they're killing all your elves, so it could get stuck in your hand. But we will see. All right, you're
yep.
number 7.
My number 7 is the Sackville Bagginses, which is one in a black for a 2/2 legendary halfling citizen. When the Sackville Bagginses enter, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, draw a card and create a treasure token. And whenever you sacrifice a token, target opponent loses 1 life. So this is not quite Deadly Dispute because instead of drawing 2 cards, you get this 2/2 that says whenever you sacrifice a token, target opponent loses 1 life in play. But I imagine these kind of Pioneer decks or decks of this type, and a Deadly Disputes I don't think is even in Standard. Um, Maybe it is. It might be in LCI actually. Now that I say that,
Boy, it'd be nice if this had flash,
yes, definitely.
but
Okay, Deadly Dispute is not legal in Standard, so it's not competing with that.
all right.
Um, I don't know. I like that you can sack a creature or artifact, so it's good with other weird things that like make treasure tokens or stuff like that, and you get a card and you get maybe a threatening body as you know, this is a card that's a lot better with treasure tokens than anything else.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't do anything like repeated other than the like your opponent loses a life, which
Yeah.
is kind of a thing. It's also legendary, which kind of I think ultimately I was considering putting this on my list. Ultimately, all these things added up to me not putting it on, but certainly like that very first ability is really good.
Yep.
It's just that's like pretty much the whole card.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
So
I'm at if there's a way to like convert your creatures into treasures or things like that.
yeah,
Um,
it's certainly a card I'm keeping my eyes on. Could they really have not made this a non-legendary? I mean, there's multiple of them, so like I guess it's like this
um,
couple is the bag and seas.
I'm I'm not familiar enough with the Hobbit, unfortunately. I
Ugh,
think.
there's just so many legendaries, Jacob.
Yeah.
I get a little tired of it. It is funny where like there's a lot of these legendary black 2 drops. There's another one I have on my list too, in like this set and others where I'm just like, well, I guess I could build a black deck that's just like Highlander and standard, play one of each of the good black 2 drops.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right, well, fair enough. Next I have my number 6, and this one I don't know if I should have put so high, but it is Elven Passage.
Oh, okay.
So this is a land, pay a life to sacrifice it. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. But you may behold an elf, and if you do, you untap that land. So I know in modern they just have this without the elves, so it doesn't really do much there. But I figured like Pioneer could probably use this, and then Standard. I mean, there's landfall decks that have want landfall, and they have land or elves, and they might play other elves. So this just seems there's enough going on that I feel pretty confident it's going to see play in probably multiple formats, even if it's kind of minor.
Yeah, this is not gonna show that I think of this set highly, but this is my number one card because I'm very confident that it's gonna see play
Oh
as a
wow.
landfall deck.
Okay, so your thought process is probably like this is definitely going to see play. So unlike the other
Yeah,
rest of the cards in the set, I'm just going to put this number 1.
and I don't know if the landfall deck will fit in more elves, but a cool feature of this card is that like, when you add more fetch lands to your landfall deck, you'd be impacting your turn one green source count. But
That's a good point.
that this is a turn one green source for land or elf always. So it's not gonna impact that. It's just gonna impact Saz's Chocobo. So maybe you meet somewhere in the middle and maybe you just play like a couple of these over some forests. But I think you
Yeah.
definitely can you can afford to cut some basics because the basics I, people will always tell you stories that they run out of basics in the landfall deck. You don't need 14, like
Yeah.
10 maybe 10's too few, but it's not 14.
Yeah, I mean, it even if you can if you can fit a lot of elves in a deck, I mean, just having a fetch land on turn 1 can really improve how well you can cast your 1 drops in any deck.
Yeah.
So because you can reveal an elf, you don't have to have one in play, which
In Pioneer, they're actually still lacking some of these things. But randomly, I was thinking about Historic and how you could play like Prismatic Vista, this, and Deathrite Shaman, and maybe like Ash Barons or something if you wanted Deathrite Shaman to be online.
Oh yeah, because historic has Deathrite but not fetch lands.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound crazy. Um, is Deathrite Shaman still like a powerful card by today's standards? It's banned in a lot of formats, but I'm not even sure. It's been banned for so long that it's the kind of thing that I'm not sure would see a ton of play if it
Yeah,
was
I've
unbanned.
been looking at Timeless, which we'll probably have an episode on before the qualifier weekend.
Yeah,
Um, Deathrite is not a staple card that sees play, but it seems to see some play, and that's a format that's like about legacy power level.
in some ways
So
it might be more powerful than Legacy. Yeah.
yeah, some ways it's worse, in some ways it's stronger, like it has Vampiric Tutor randomly.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Okay, I wasn't. I've also seen Deathrite in Timeless, but it's like very clearly not definitely good. I would say,
right.
and I've been playing the game, so I'm not sure. But my read on that format is that it's still pretty unrefined and decks need a lot of change. So I'm not.
Yeah, we'll be talking about it more and more, I'm sure, because yeah, I'm just in the beginning of stages where I'm kind of just learning what all the decks people actually play are.
Right. And it's super similar to like Legacy, which is a format I'm not familiar with. Like I kind of know what Legacy decks look like, but I don't have a lot of experience playing the games.
Yeah, it's kind of like also weirdly, it's a lot of the cards that have been banned in Legacy are legal in it, like
Yeah.
Psychic Frog and Entomb. So yeah, it is maybe more powerful than Legacy, though. Weirdly, like this is a huge side note, but if you're following the podcast a lot, this will be something we talk about later, anyways. Like the Fantasticar has broken Legacy and Vintage, and they didn't put that on Arena. And it
Thank
would,
God.
I think, it would clearly be the best thing in Timeless if it was
Yeah.
on Arena, because Dark Ritual is legal and Mishra's Bauble or whatever, you can figure it out. But then like I'm like, oh, so they didn't do any Marvel Commander stuff, but Doomsday is only on there because of Marvel Commander. So I don't get it. I don't know why Doomsday is on Arena, but Fantasticar isn't. I don't know what subset. They have the same set symbol, so it's weird to me.
I stopped keeping track of how cards got onto Timeless
Yeah,
at this
yeah,
point.
it's just
I
weird because
just
Doomsday matters in Timeless, I
Oh
think.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So
It's a good card. There's Thassa's Oracle and all that. So
yeah,
yeah. All right. Um okay, wow, you're number one. Cool. Well,
yep.
number six for me. What's number six for you?
Mine is the Mountain King's Return, which is 2 and a white for a Saga. Chapter 1 is Recruit, which is a new ability in the set. It's draw a card, then discard a card. If you discarded a non-land card, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. So it's kind of like Connive, but you don't have to target a creature. And if you discard a non-land, you get a 1/1 instead of a +1/+1 counter. So that's pretty cool. Chapter 2, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And Chapter 3, put a +1/+1 counter on up to one target creature. Um, the entire reason this card is on my list is because Oculus is still in standard till the new year,
Okay. I was trying to
and
figure
this
it out.
this sets it up all by itself. And I think it's some nice little value. You could play it with, I don't know if there's something better than like Giralf. The Monastery Mentor is not standard anymore, but like I think you definitely are playing Oculus if you play this. To be clear, but like it's also kind of cool that you could play with all your mana open and you're already a white blue deck, so maybe you have counter magic up with some threat you put into play.
Yeah,
Um,
that is nice.
and I just like, it's doing the helping hand thing all in a single card. If, you don't hit Oculus, but you at least return a creature, like you're still getting a lot of value out of this card.
Okay. Boy, I hardly looked at this card to be honest. Is this better with Oculus than like the Black Ral from Strixhaven? Because that also kind of
It's
set
easier
it
on the
up.
mana,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think the Black Row kind of sucks.
Yeah. I mean, this card doesn't jump off the page as super powerful either to me. But I guess this can't just
Yeah,
be like attack down
yeah.
if you're trying to set like because the Ral you'd have to play it
You have to like make each player discard a card, which I think is worse than Recruit.
and then it has to survive.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, I could see it. And those decks have, maybe if you also wanted to play Helping Hand, you'd want to be
yeah. I
able to play
assume
it
you're also
anyways.
playing Helping Hand. Yes, that's part of why also being in white would be kind of appealing.
All right. Well, neat. I didn't notice that. I really like these sagas in the set. They all have stellar art. Um,
Yeah. Also, on the second turn you control this after you return something, you could Boomerang Basics this,
sure.
play it again.
Yeah, it's not like you're missing out on anything huge with the third chapter.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. I like it. Um, yeah. Boy, I'm always missing out on these uncommons. That's how I missed the tablet last time. So you need to watch out for that. Okay, my number five is also a recruit card. It's the Queen of Dale. One and a white, 2/1 legendary human noble. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, you recruit. Um, so obviously it has the problem of being a legendary,
Well, but
but
adding looting to your legendary is a good way to get around it.
that is nice, yeah. Um, but this card just seems strong to me. I mean, even if it's only as a couple of cards or a couple of copies in your white weenie deck of some sort. I mean, white weenie in some form is usually good in a lot of formats, even if it's not like the best thing at that moment. And I mean, almost every deck has non-creature spells at this point, and if your opponent were to just kill this, you get a recruit off. And recruit is like pretty strong. I think it's better than connive, um, on average, especially since you're getting
Yeah.
another human that could go with your human synergies with this card in particular.
No,
I
I
don't.
think it's better than connive.
Yeah, I don't even think it's so crazy if this card was in like some really powerful formats. Some of those white weenie decks, they don't always play what look like the most powerful cards, like Thalia and that sort of thing. But given that some of your other cards are legendary, like maybe you can fit in some number of these in formats where your opponent's casting a non-creature spell pretty much every turn. Help smooth your draws and whatnot. Um, that's my thought. Is this on your list at all?
No.
Okay.
I guess I think I'm a little worried that, first landfall or something, it's, a little not like playing to the board, and then also, I don't know, like a 2/1 that if when it dies makes a 1/1 wouldn't be that good either.
No, that's true. But I mean, certainly better than that though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it is the kind of card where if the format was a lot of kind of creature decks, I probably wouldn't want it in my deck. And it's not like I'm really going to sideboard it either. It's not that hateful. So yeah, maybe there's a chance I'm overestimating it, but I like it. I want to see how it does.
Cool. Yeah.
What do you have for number five?
I have the Eagles are coming,
The
which
Eagles are
is
coming.
this is one of the ones I was kind of saying is more speculative, but I think it's the coolest card on my list. And if it
Nice.
sees play, that would be awesome. I mean, it does something incredibly unique. So it's one and a white for an instant with kicker for two white white. So you could either spend 2 or 6 on it. Choose target creature you own. If this spell was kicked, instead choose any number of target creatures you own. Return each creature you control to your hand. At the beginning of the next upkeep, create a 4/4 white bird soldier creature token with flying for each creature returned to your hand this way. So it's kind of like, what is it? The core? What's it called? Core Skyfisher?
Oh, yeah. The
Um
2/3 flyer.
yeah, but you get a 4/4 flying on your next upkeep, which is pretty big, but it's, kind of a turn behind. Um, but I think if you play this, you're like hoping to kick it. I was thinking it would have a lot of overlap with like Last Run-Ins technique and the type of deck that would want that card because you could just get some tokens down and then eventually convert all these tokens into like a lethal bird force.
What's last Ronin's technique? Is that the
From
Teenage
Teenage,
Mutant?
yeah,
Okay.
like the sneak make 3/1/1s.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was thinking this card would overlap with if it saw play.
Interesting.
Where you'd want to play 1 drops to bounce anyways, and then for value. But then this could scale into something really big.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if this card was a flop because it's hard to evaluate, but I do get the sense that it's very good. And I actually have it as number three on my list.
Okay.
And one of the main things about it is I just think that like it being an instant and only 2 mana, like if you put it in a deck like a pixie esque style of deck, it just feels like you're gonna have a lot of opportunities to get kind of blowouts with this. If your opponent ever uses removal,
Yeah.
or you just have a really good value pickup. Um, a 4/4 is pretty huge for only two
Yeah, it
mana.
is.
It doesn't get to attack right away. Um, but it's a four
Yep.
four flyer, so it can block really well. You could potentially, yeah, have it as early as turn two if you play like a value one drop that you want to bounce. And I think the kicker is not going to come up all the time, of course, but it's certainly going to be, an additional layer to the card that makes it even more powerful.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it seems great to me. We will see. Obviously, if this was like a sorcery, I don't think I'd like it.
No, I agree. I mean, the instant I think because you do have to return a creature, I think you'll be maybe main phasing this a lot to
Yeah,
like play around removal if you play with it. But it's nice as it's fully flexible.
right. And it's decent value into an opposing sweeper. Um,
Yeah.
this sort of thing. Obviously, it's not perfect there. You'd probably rather just give your guys indestructible or something, but at least it does something.
Yep.
So yeah, really sweet card. I'm kind of curious now what the token looks like. Big old 4/4
Oh,
Eagles.
yeah. That would be cool.
They look okay. I thought they'd look better, but that's all
Uh,
right. All right.
all right.
Where are we?
You're number four.
My number four. Okay, my number four is Gollum, Riddlemaster.
Cool.
This is another card where I don't really know what to do with it, but I just get the sense that it's good. Um, so one in a black, 3/1 legendary creature, of course. He's a halfling horror. As he enters, you choose odd or even. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value of the chosen quality, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Put a +1/+1 counter on Golem. Each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life and draw a card. So you only get to do these abilities once each. So it's not so
Yeah.
crazy like a hate card, but
Not once per turn, even. Like
right.
once per time Golem is on the battlefield total.
Yeah, exactly. But he's only 2 mana, and I'm assuming what you're gonna do is you're gonna name odd, like the
Yeah.
vast majority of the time, because I think most of the removal people play are certainly there's more 1 and 3 mana ones than there are like 2 and 4 mana ones.
Yeah, and if you think about it, if you name odd and your opponent kills this for 2 mana, you've traded even on mana.
Yeah. So
And
it's
if
not the end of the
you kill
world.
it for 1 mana, you draw a card
Yep.
and you're up a card. So I
So it's
think
just
yeah,
kind of hard to go wrong with it. You just kind
you'll
of
you'll
run
know
it
their
out
deck,
early.
and they might not be a deck that even plays removal, and they might play a bunch of even costed cards, or they're about to play Badger Cub on turn two, and you just name even or whatever. But
Yeah. In Pioneer, maybe you
yeah,
can pair it with Thoughtseize. That's kind of nice.
yeah, but yeah,
Pass, pass,
I like
pass,
this
draw a
card.
card. It doesn't do a ton, but I mean, if you were to add all this up, 2 mana,
Yeah,
4/2, drain, draw a card. It's like a little siege rhino, that draws a card.
yeah, this is my number three. So
Okay, so I don't have to convince you on it.
yeah, and yeah, I mean a 4/2 that drains some life too is like I don't know. That's a lot. It'll probably have to trade off, which means playing legendary, multiple copies of this is not going to be as hard for you to play.
Yeah. Do you have a sense of like what to do with this in terms of
Yeah,
deck
I mean,
building?
once again, we don't have. I don't know. Maybe we do have a black deck. We have the blue black mid range deck. Maybe you just get to play this and name odd, and you're happy with it. You put it in your sideboard or something to attack more controlling decks, things like
Yeah.
that.
Black Reed midrange has some good things going for
Yeah,
it. Maybe
that
this
too.
is a black drop that help or 2 drop. They're kind of missing 2 drops. Be really nice if this was a non-legendary card. Um, but yeah, maybe you've got enough legendary 2 drops of different power levels that you could play.
Yeah,
Finally, your Highland River deck. So yeah.
cool.
All right. My number three was Eagles are coming. Your number three was Golem.
No, but we have my number four.
Oh, perfect. All right. What's your number four?
Mine is Smog the Magnificent. Uh,
Smoggy
this
boy.
is 2 red for a 4/3 legendary creature dragon. It has flying and haste. When Smog attacks, he deals damage equal to the number of treasures you control to any target, and at the beginning of your upkeep, create a treasure token. 4 power flying haste for 4 is not really a stat line we see much of, and with like Nova Hellkite, I just imagine this might stack up pretty well. Maybe something like Sarkin. We've had these dragons decks before, and I don't know. This one hits pretty hard, and if it doesn't die, you get a ping when it attacks and an extra mana.
Yeah. Um, I've never got the sense that those Dragon decks were very good. I agree that this starts looking pretty good if you can ramp it out on turn three.
Yeah, or I don't know. You warp Nova Hellkite and you play this, and you play Nova Hellkite, and you're just a mono red deck. But
Yeah, maybe this gives some life to mono red in that sense. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty nice. There's actually like, three toughness in a lot of formats is laughably small because of, like discharge or lightning bolt or things past, but in standard right now, it's not really punished by one
Yeah,
mana
we have a lot of
cards.
shocks.
Right. And so people don't even play that much two mana removal. So maybe, um,
Yeah, I mean, you just have to really be happy with getting 4 damage out of your card if
right.
they've, just tapped out.
Yeah, I think that's right. I was kind of thinking that I couldn't think of anything that makes a lot of treasures, but maybe
Yeah,
you
if you
don't
could
even
pair it with
bother with
something that
that.
makes treasures, then that's that's extra nice. But yeah, I was mostly just not gonna bother with that.
Yeah. There's a goblin 2 mana 3/2 that like you can put
Oh yeah, you
Marshmallow
can
as
blight for the
counter.
treasure. Yeah,
It's not crazy. You could ramp into
if you're
this.
making treasures, it's weird. I mean, Sarkin does make a treasure, right? So
Yeah. Although you probably sack it to play Smog.
yeah, but maybe you don't.
But then
Maybe
maybe you get a treasure earlier because
maybe you get Nova Hellkite and ping a guy, and next turn you play Smog and ping a guy, and your opponent's otters and elves are under attack.
I guess this can ping your opponent.
Yeah,
I
one
kind
extra
of
damage too.
yeah. All right. Hey, you might be right about this one. That'd be cool. I don't have this on my list, but I might be a believer. Um,
Yeah, it just hits kind of hard. I do wish it was like a 4/4, but
they nerfed mono red so badly that like it's just not even on the plane of existence right now. So it does need some stuff. Maybe this will help.
yeah,
Um,
it certainly needs 1 drops to start for sure.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
So now
Boy,
we're
number
all the way up
two.
to your number 2. Yep,
All right, here we go. We're gonna see if this one's on your list. Gandalf, Goblin's Bane.
it's not.
Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. Two in a red. 2/3. Legendary Avatar Wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Gandalf gets +1/+1 until end of turn and deals 1 damage to each opponent. So a little 3-man, 2/3 prowess. But he has an adventure that's a sorcery. So Flame Shape, one in a red. Look at the top two cards of your library and exile them face down. For as long as they remain exiled, you may play them if you control a wizard. So noticeably, you know, this is not until some amount of turns have lapsed. Like you just play them for as long as they remain exiled. And
Yep.
Gandalf himself is a wizard, so maybe you're playing this in a wizard deck, or a deck that has some number of other wizards, so that you're not just relying on Gandalf to come into play, so you can cast your cards. But like this does mean you can cast things, you can play lands from this as well. So if you build around it, it's really similar to just one in a red sorcery draw two, and then
Well, draw 2 as long as you control a creature, which is
yeah, draw two that you can play.
yeah.
You can only play them while you control a wizard. Um, but if you could pull that off to draw two, and then you also get the additional creature that is Gandalf that comes with it, which is
Yeah, it's
he's a
it's
decent
not a
size.
creature you normally play, but it is very threatening.
Yeah,
You got me looking at wizards. I
yeah.
kind of
I
just
also did
assumed
that.
that there wasn't going to be good wizards, but maybe
There's
I'm wrong.
some. There's a Slick Shot, and there's Storm Chaser, or whatever the otter's name is, 2 mana one, Thunder Trap Trainer,
Okay, right.
and some stuff. And then if you go to Pioneer, there's some more.
Yeah, maybe in Pioneer. I know in Modern there's a lot of wizards, but this card just didn't seem like it would be
Yeah,
good enough for Modern compared to just playing Quantum Riddler or something.
I'm sure people will try it in their deck with Flame of Anor. That's like not quite good enough, but
Yeah, I like that the backside of Ashling is a wizard, but the front side is a sorcerer.
yeah, well, I wish they were both wizards now, but I do like
Yeah,
that bit of flavor. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's kind of a 3 for 1. Even if
yeah.
you just have to set it up with only using itself, where like you do
Maybe
the
I've
flame
just
shape and then later on you play this plus like a land and a spell.
maybe I've tried too hard to play a lot of questing druid in my life, so I just
You're over it.
yeah.
I guess this is kind of like Question Druid, isn't it?
Yeah, but questing druid makes you care more about deck building where your cards are all good at all times compared to this makes you care about wizards.
Yeah, I think the thing that they just stay exiled till you're ready to use them is going to make it a lot closer to draw two than. Maybe your
Yeah, and
favorite.
anytime you hit a land, you can play wizard and play your land or something
Yep,
just to start. So that's nice.
yep. Or you could wait till
Yeah,
if you play a non-ETB creature, and you wait, even if you exile like a sorcerer speed card, you wait till you have that much mana. You play this. He doesn't have an ETB or anything, so they don't get priority. Then you just play your other thing.
could play this with Fur Core.
There you go. You always have a wizard.
My
Perfect. Oh, I
my
love Fur
favorite
Court.
my favorite
I never
card ever to
remember it,
play.
and you always bring it up, and I'm like, oh, genius.
It's really
Fur
good.
Court.
It's really good at what it does.
It
To be
is.
fair, like
It is. And you could like wait to, or you don't, it's always a wizard. You don't even need
yeah,
to animate it. Yeah, perfect card.
Fur Core is one of the funniest cards ever because it was in the same set as the Mutable Explorer,
It is.
and
Yeah.
it's just
It's
way
just
better
way
than
better
Mutable
card. And
the
nobody
Mutable
knew.
Explorer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. Hey, this is really good with Mutavault and Pioneer.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. All right, what's your stupid number two since it's not Gandalf? And your number one is Elven Passage.
Yeah. Mine is Elrond Moonreader.
Ah, broken card. All right,
Two in
fair.
a blue for a 3/3 legendary creature Elf Noble. Whenever you activate an ability of a creature, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. 5 blue. Exile up to 2 other target non-land permanents you control. Return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Um, yeah, I mean, I think this takes some support from probably green cards specifically, not necessarily, but it seems really good with mana dorks or just, Badgermole Cub, stuff like that. Your earthbended lands would count. And even though it's triggers only once per turn, activated abilities on creatures like that are really easy to maybe use on your opponent's turn. So you might be able to get multiple cards. You might be able to play this draw card while your opponent's tapped out and then have a creature on their turn to draw another card.
Yeah, team's kind of broken, honestly. I put it number one
Okay.
on my list. Yeah, it's funny because you read it and you're like, oh, what's this like cool quirky card with all these abilities, and then it's just like, oh, I just play it with Llanowar Elves, and it's just it draws a ton of cards and Badgerable Cub or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, it also has this big ramp payoff ability, which is
Yeah, I
also
guess,
good with green.
at once upon a time we just had the Simic Cub deck. And why wouldn't you at least play one of these?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess it's legendary, but it's going to be such a lightning rod.
Yeah.
I guess if you have only it,
Yeah, that's the issue with those decks is all your things die, and then you'd prefer to have like Quantum Riddler or something.
right?
But that's why I'm saying like, maybe you have the Quantum Riddlers in your deck, but you also have one of these as a big
Yeah,
payoff.
could have like both.
It's good, you could tutor it with your formidable speaker or whatever, and that has an activated ability too.
Yeah, there's probably a world where you can play this in a non-blue or a non-green deck rather, but I think yeah, you just pair this with mana creatures and you're just really really happy about it.
Yeah.
So, and it's the sizing's pretty good too. 3 mana, 3/3,
Yep. The
blinking.
ability is not, totally useless, maybe. Maybe a little.
Yeah, yeah. You might be able to play your Elven Passage in this green blue deck of yours now.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe you don't need it. Okay.
Well, yeah, it seems really good at drawing cards, and in a deck that mana dorks and drawing cards play pretty well together. So that's already a natural pairing.
Oh yeah. I think the fact that you can tap it, you can if you use mana creatures on your opponent's turn to cast something or even just float a mana.
Yeah, like I was saying, you could formidable speaker for this, and then like play this with um
A mana
like
open
elf speaker up, and just use the speaker to untap the elf, draw a card, and then still have elf up on their turn.
to draw another card. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of nasty. Yeah. Sounds really good in a Simic deck.
yeah.
So, okay. Well, that's the Hobbit, huh?
Did you read this Bilbo Baggins burglar card?
Yeah.
Well, it's the limited thing, but
Which one?
the common, the two in a blue, 2/1 ETB draw card, sorcerer adventure for a single blue scry 2. Just thinking about in sealed how hard it's going to be for me to not
Play that?
play this when I open them.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna have like three per pool, so
Yeah,
the
maybe. I mean, it is the
common.
type of card that being legendary is quite the downside.
Although you could just take a glance a bunch and just leave them waiting in the
Yeah.
adventure zone and then block and then play another one. Yeah, that is pretty nice.
Yeah, we both omitted Bilbo Thief in the Night, which I don't know if as a mythic is supposed to be the big shiny
Uh,
card in the set.
I
Um,
almost put it on.
it's like Dreadhorde Darkness like.
Yeah,
So
well,
I'll read
these.
it.
Sure. Okay, go for it.
One in the blue, Bilbo Thief in the Knife, 2/2. Legendary creature, Halfling Rogue. Spells you cast from anywhere other than your hand cost one less to cast. When it attacks, you may cast an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell from your graveyard. If an instant or sorcery spell cast this way would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. So you have to cast it right then and there, 4 mana, but it costs one less to cast. I just read now it doesn't target. That's kind of cool. Like if you have multiple things in your graveyard, Ghost Vacuum's not going to stop this. Um,
Oh
Stuff
yeah.
like that. But in modern, you could use it with Mishra's Bauble, but Dreadhorde Arcanist isn't banned in modern or anything like that. I guess it's banned in Legacy. I don't think it would be good in Legacy if it was unbanned though. So
Is it
this
actually
card's
banned in
blue.
Legacy?
Yeah.
That seems kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's just one of those category of cards that like you play it with Daze and or Force of Will up and it's a lot stronger.
Yeah,
Um,
turn one Thoughtseize probably.
but no, not even when it was banned. It was just like at the time it was Team or Delver because Oko was legal at the same time. They were banned at the same time, Oko and
Okay.
Dreadhorde. And like this card costing the mana is way worse than Legacy too, right? Like part of why Dreadhorde is strong is because it was just casting these Ponders or Brainstorms or Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning. Those were all in the deck
Yeah, I
uh,
feel like that matters in
for 0.
a lot of the formats. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a pretty big downside to this guy.
and this card you could play a 2 mana removal spell and attack, and then immediately cast that 2 mana removal spell for 1 mana and kill both blockers, I guess. But
Yeah, I like Dreadhorde Arcanist's stat line better too.
yeah, definitely. And
So
it has those weird things going on where people sometimes play with that card and they like give it wild ride it or something and give it power. I guess Dreadhorde Arcanist has seen some play actually in like historic wizards or maybe Pioneer,
yeah,
where
yeah,
like
yeah.
stuff like that where the power buff matters too. With
I've seen it
Lifeless
tried
Charge is the one,
in
yeah, in
historic.
historic,
Yeah,
yeah,
it wouldn't be. I mean, this card's obviously like okay. It's not terrible.
it's also a really bad card to be legendary.
It
Once again,
is.
like
It is. Yeah, and it like I feel like it might get blocked really easily, but I don't know. It's definitely okay. I can't imagine you play it in a like prowessy type of deck though. When you while you have slick shot legal,
yeah,
maybe you could play one. I don't know.
yeah, and then I guess if somehow the discount is worth some weird combo application in another way, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I took a chance on like a couple of the elves that on my list that maybe I could have put this instead of because it was on my. I didn't have that long of a list to be honest when I was writing down cards that I thought were good.
Yep.
So maybe I'll see some play. But alrighty, well, that is our top 10. Hope you all enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments or on Discord or in our Patreon what your top 10 would be or what we got right or wrong. And we'll talk to you next time. Okay, I remember this time that we could touch on our prior top 10s.
Oh, great.
Yeah, let me find mine. I have
Okay,
mine and
got mine.
yours.
Cool. Yeah, I have mine.
Okay, so Marvel top 10. That's interesting because we had a modern Pro Tour, so we maybe haven't seen all the innovation we could in standard because there really hasn't been very many big standard tournaments.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
Um,
that being said, overall, not the biggest impact.
your number one was Thor, right?
Yeah,
That was my number two. That might be the most impactful card.
it's looking like it. Unless it actually sucks and people are just playing it because it's fun and kind of good.
Yeah, I think it. I don't know.
It
I have
seems
faith that we
good.
kind of, it's not like it's a 4 of broken card, but
No,
like 2 of in the 75 of all these tablet decks.
yeah,
Like, makes sense to me.
big win condition card. And I was trying
Yeah.
it in other decks too, of like different colors, not even control decks, and it was just like pretty strong card. So I think the
Yeah.
power level on it's just really high.
Yeah, I agree.
So
We
and
have
that's
this
a cool
kind
one
of,
because not many content creators were talking about it at all.
yeah. We have this kind of flavor of these 4-color control decks, which actually I had tried and posted. Canister just won the standard showcase qualifier with this deck. 4-color control, but black based.
Oh,
Um,
right. Deadly cover
which
up, basically.
yeah, and duress, and then nowhere to run, which I really don't like nowhere to run. I think it's just for the color storm stallion mostly.
Ah,
Um,
does he have ways to bounce it or something? No.
no, and
Hmm.
why I don't like it is I spent a long time on the mana for this deck,
Yeah.
and I had 27 land mana base that didn't even have to play Starting Town that I was really happy with if you don't play Nowhere to Run. And the key thing of why it's awkward to me is that Great Hall of the Biblioplex is four sources if all your black cards are just instants and sorceries, but they just don't count at all for Nowhere to Run. So these decks just have like way more black sources than I would want to play.
Oh, yeah. Duh. That seems bad.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I was building lots of decks with Great Hall, and one of the things I had to make sure of, as an example, was to have plenty of reds, like kind of an extraordinary amount of red sources because Tablet is red, and Great Hall
yeah,
you
my
count against
goal,
your red sources.
yeah, I mean, I won't post, I guess, my mana, but I was looking at it earlier today, and like I had 27 lands, and here, let me see if I can find it. I'll just read my lands. This was pre-Thor. This was before Marvel came out, but um, one island, one Mistrise, one swamp, one Corn Mountain Monastery, one Bleachbone Verge, so that's black then white, three Shuttered Sanctum, one Gloom Lake Verge, so blue then black, two Undercity Sewers, my only surveil lands, one Watery Grave, two River Pyre Verge, so red then blue, three Steam Vents, one Stormcarved Coast, three Blood Crypt, one Sacred Foundry, one Sundown Pass, and four Great Halls. That's certainly like all over the place, so I'm just tinkering it and trying to get certain thresholds basically on what my goals are. And so this was 13 untapped turn one red, but 15 total red because I had like a Sundown Pass and a Stormcarved Coast to help cast the tablets. And then 13, I think, is like a nice number of untapped turn one red when you're playing all these shocks because like when you're on the play, 14 is what like the Frank Carson math will tell you, but in my opinion, like when you're on the play, like whatever, play your tap lands. And then when you're on the draw, it's like more important and you have one more draw step to kind of help piece this together. That's 10 untapped turn one black for something like duress or an early shoot the sheriff or something. And then 16 total, and 16 is a nice number, I think, to hit for deadly cover up. It's 10 untapped blue. Turn one doesn't really matter. Blue is mostly just here for like stock up and consult, and it's 16 total blue for consult. And then it's just 10 white, but all the white is untapped late in the game, and the white is only for inevitable defeat in Jeskai Revelation. I think doing this exercise too, it made me think you could probably build a red white based deck that's just splashing black, I guess, for inevitable defeat, or maybe just pure Jeskai. Back to that again. Um, and that is kind of appealing because you could play Day of Judgment, I guess is the main reason.
Yeah, I still think I like Pure Dress Guy better, um,
Yeah.
at least in theory. Another thing I thought of with the Nora to run, because if it was just for the horse, you could play Long Goodbye, which is one in a black instant, can't be
Mm.
countered, destroy target creature, planeswalker, mana value three less.
Yeah.
So maybe he really wanted it for
Leatherhead.
Leatherhead
Yeah.
or dual purpose.
Right. Well, the
Maybe
Leatherhead
he
decks are
was
nice because you kill something small, and then it's not like you have
yeah
to double up on Leatherhead. But then you have, I mean, I guess you have these kicked firebending lessons, and then you have Seer, shoot the sheriff. Okay, you have a lot of stuff for Leatherhead. Yeah.
yeah. So
I
maybe
mean, I
he was
get
running
it.
into a lot of Leatherhead. I don't know.
This list originated from um the guy who Michael Plummer who won Pro Tour Edge of Eternities. I know that because when I when I played it, this was kind of a new deck.
Yeah. Maybe even then it should be like a cyber card. I don't know.
Yeah, but still, it's a huge impact on the mana. I
It is.
also, I mean, I haven't played Standard in a bit. When I played it, I thought Together as One was kind of bad.
Yeah. It it's like not it's not good in enough matchups. It's too
Yeah,
for
notably when I
an
played a
expensive
mirror.
card. It's just like only good against certain
Yeah,
things.
in the mirror, it was kind of awkward because you just didn't really do anything early because you just had all removal.
Yeah.
And even if you like, because there's not very many counter spells, none in this list, you could just jam this and resolve it, and then you'd be discarding like three cards to hand size anyways.
Yeah. And that would maybe in the cyborg games where you're trading
Yeah.
resources a lot more, it'd maybe be better. But then everybody has negates, and 6 mana sorcery gets even worse. So yeah,
But yeah, I'm looking at the
I also don't love
standard
that card.
showcase, and there's still mono green.
Were there any other cards from our top tens that have done well in standard? Now that you're looking at them,
Um,
I've
let's see.
certainly seen people try most of the cards on my list,
Yeah,
but
someone
nothing, not
I
as much
talked to
stuff as
somebody about,
stuck.
yeah, we CA the Nay, which I thought was gonna be a lot more impactful, and they just said, things are cheaper nowadays, and there's Badger Mocha to give you infinite mana. And
Yeah,
I guess when Make Disappear was really strong, Fable and Rafine were like the two best cards in Standard.
both 3 drops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean maybe we don't really have a deck that it just slotted into, so like maybe if a deck shapes up more like a blue mid range deck with creatures, that it would still see play.
Yep.
Um, I liked Captain Marvel, Earth Protector, and Blue White Control.
Yeah, I've spotted that in the sideboard of the occasional modern control deck too,
Oh, interesting.
which means they
Yeah,
have to stop revealing Kira.
yeah, it's probably not worth it. I I thought it would only be a good sideboard card, and then I played it in my main deck and just found it to be like really good in a lot of matchups.
Makes sense.
It's really good against those green decks, and then at worst being a flash threat in pretty much any matchup, it's kind of fine. I don't know if I'd go so far as to play Jeskai Control because in Jeskai Control you have Revelation, but maybe you could still sideboard it there. That wouldn't be crazy. Nothing with Shang-Chi, huh?
Yeah, no roots type stuff. That was really all I thought when I put it number one would matter.
I
But
thought I thought someone bigger brain would maybe figure out something to do with it, but maybe the cards just aren't legal or available or exist.
yeah, it's also like the roots thing is just not that much more powerful than playing landfall or a cup deck.
Right.
It looks like, this makes sense. There's a ton of control and is it decks online.
Yeah, there really are.
So I would think maybe the card roots would be good against those decks specifically.
Maybe. I feel like Revelation probably just goes over the top of it though.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.